last night at Lebanon Valley was sick. The car did great. No overheating problems. I was able to keep the hood on the whole time. The car stayed under 215 the entire night. The new turbo manifold was great. No overboosting or boost creep or any issues like that. It performed flawlessly, and I got tons of compliments on the car sounding good, so that's always a plus. But it's the next morning. I didn't really get any good like content from Lebanon Valley itself. Louis did record a lot of stuff with his swivel mount, so I had him put together a short little edit of Lebanon Valley, which I'll include after this clip. But we are currently on our way to Lock City Drift to go drift with Lock City at Thompson Motor Speedway. As you can see, it's gonna be a wet one, so it'll be nice for tire wear, but it's kind of annoying for like the pit area and everything like that, because we gotta make sure all of our stuff stays dry and whatnot. So I'll pick it up when we get there. But first, enjoy this little edit that Louis put together from Lebanon Valley. I think it came out pretty sick. I know editing is annoying and sucks, but I think Louis did a really good job on this one. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you at Lock City.
What are you
see this? This is what we call horse shit. Longest grid line I have ever seen. I have another update. It's been 30 minutes and I've gotten on track one time. And it feels like somebody dumped oil all around the track, so like that's awesome. For a track and organization that is so strict about not having leaks and not spilling anything on the track surface, I don't think that I've ever felt a track that is so slippery when it rains. Why did I do this again? So I was just on, I was about to say on track. I just came out of the grid line. I was in the grid line for 45 minutes and I was able to do, what was it? 1, 2, 3 laps, 3 times out on track in 45 minutes. So already not happy with the seat time, but we have a session on the clubhouse next, which is like a section of the road course. So I'm pretty excited for that. I'm going to swap my tires to a set that I haven't drifted on previously, because I was struggling for grip. I was definitely struggling for grip. I aired down to 15 PSI and was still struggling for grip. So I don't think it's an issue of tire pressure. I think it's an issue of just, I spent these tires yesterday when I was drifting at Lebanon Valley. So, I mean, if you look at them, like there's still tread there. They're not even at the wear bars yet, but they are, they're very hard. So I have a feeling that they're just not gripping like they should with this cooler, wet, chilly weather. So I'm gonna throw some better tires on the car, and hopefully that will alleviate the situation. If the newer tires don't help, then I also have a set of 245s, which, you know, instead of the 225s, the 245s will give me a little more surface area, which might seem a little backwards, because I know in like wet weather and snow, you kind of want a thinner tread so that you're able to cut through the snow and through the water and actually make contact with the pavement. So I'm hoping I can get the 225s to work good for me. If not, I'm gonna have to go to the tire machine and swap my good 245s off of or onto the wheels and take the bad 245s off. Not that they're bad, they're perfectly fine for everyday street driving, but driving on the track and driving in like the water on the track especially, I want to have as much tread on the tire so I can divert the water out and the tire can make contact with the road. So we're gonna start with the newer pair of 225s. If those don't work, then we're gonna go to the 245s. And if those don't work, then we're gonna go to the newer 245s. But I've got about 15 minutes to swap the tires before it is B Group's turn to get out on the clubhouse. And I'm also waiting for my brother to show up because he has my pop-up tent. Because as it is now, that is what my pit area looks like. There's no tent, all my stuff is just out. Granted, it's all stuff that is like water safe. I'm gonna have to go through my little toolbox and dry off any like tools or whatever water that gets into it, but it should be pretty sealed up. Oh, there goes my floor mat. I should put that somewhere. But yeah, so I'm waiting for him. my brother with our tent so we can have a little bit of, just so we can get out of the rain a little bit, because it's nice drifting in the rain because you can, you know, save tires and don't go through, it's not as expensive. But obviously this isn't ideal, having all of our stuff out, like, you know, so but it is what it is. We will we'll deal with it all when the time comes. That should help a little bit. Throw some wood on it so I can't go anywhere. Yeah, so I'm gonna take these 225s because these are the same ones that I started on yesterday, like same tread depth and everything, but these ones have not been drifted on. So these ones should grip a whole lot better than those ones. And I'll probably go right down to 15 PSI on these ones too, just because, maybe I'll start at 20 because I really don't want to be changing any axles or anything. So I'll start at 20, do a lap, see how it feels. If I need more grip, I'll drop it down to 15. Yeah, let's get to it. So I can't lie, I was super frustrated this morning. I sat in line for almost a half an hour before I even got to drift. So that was not great. In the first 2.5 hours that I was there, so like the first 2 run sessions on the skid pad and on the clubhouse course, I did 6 runs, 6 times on track in almost 3 hours. I was so frustrated, I was honestly ready to leave. But luckily, a lot of people ended up leaving early. I don't know if it was due to the rainy weather or if they were just, you know, sick of being at the track, because a lot of them were driving last night too. So, you know, when you have a good Friday night, what's the fun in driving Saturday in the rain? You know, I mean, obviously some rain laps are fun, but it was rough out there. It was very rough. Super long grid lines. And then another thing that I found that was pretty crazy. So I've been drifting for, this is my sixth season now. And I've driven in the rain a lot. I drift in the rain a lot. It's the only time I drift on the road is in the rain, because if anybody's gonna complain about you drifting, it's gonna be because of the tire noise. So I do it in the rain so nobody can hear the tire noise. They just hear me being obnoxious in my car. So I understand that it gets slippery when it's wet, and I understand that the surface is going to have some rubber on it because they were drifting on it last night, so there's fresh rubber laid down on the asphalt. But for some reason, everywhere you look, everywhere you walk, there is a trail of either oil or coolant. Now, I thought it was pretty crazy that a track, an organization that is so strict about like inspecting the cars and not making sure that they don't have leaks or anything, and making sure that they're safe and not going to ruin the track or injure anybody. There was an awful lot of oil out on the track. It didn't feel like just a wet track with rubber on it. It was a tough day. It was a tough morning, but once I started to get the hang of driving in the rain in the super slippery conditions, it turned out to be a really good day. Me and Louis got a lot of good laps in, so hopefully he will have another cool little edit from his GoPro footage for us. But man, was it slippery out there. I was riding a fine line between over wheel speeding the car, because I have a 315 diff in the car. My red line is 7,100 RPM or 7,000 RPM. I don't know, it's something up there. Something either just at or just over 7,000. It's definitely not up to 75, but like I only have a little baby turbo on there. It's a 3076, so we didn't really have the room in the higher RPM. It started to fall off a little bit, so we just left it at that. But in second gear with my 315 ratio, my wheel speed gets up to, I think it's 60 or 62 or it's around 60, right? And it's great in the dry, because that's, you know, I'm trying to go probably 40-45 miles an hour, so I want that little extra to keep the wheels spinning, but not too fast to completely blow off the tires. Just trying to ride that fine line of not too much wheel speed, but enough wheel speed that I'm still completely sideways. But today, in the rain, the 60 plus mile an hour wheel speed in second gear, that was a little too much. It was a little too much. I really had to baby the throttle to make sure that I wasn't going to over wheel speed the car, and I had to stay between like 4,000 and 5,000 RPMs, because my peak torque is like 3,800 or something, and it's pretty flat from about 3,800 to I think 6,200 is where the torque starts to fall off a little bit. So I need to stay in that range. But so 6,000 RPMs wheel speed was too fast, and I almost spun instantly every time it was up there. But 3,800, if I let off the slightest little bit, I would fall out of my torque range, and I would end up like the rear would grip up a little bit, and then it would push the front, and I would start to understeer and have to like reinitiate or try and just like drift through it and clutch kick and get the boost up and the rear to come back around for me. So it was, I was like riding that fine line of stay in boost, but don't over wheel speed the car. And I hadn't really dealt with that situation in a while, so that was kind of hard to navigate for the first few laps. But once I got the hang of the throttle control, it was like everything came out good. And I ended up getting a few good chase laps in with Louis. Not that I've always struggled in the chase, but I really figured out what my issue is today. I have all the tools. I have all of the skills to do it. My issue is I really care about this car, and I don't want to crash it into anybody. And that's what they say about drifting. It's if you're gonna drift your car, you really have to not care if something happens to it cosmetically, because something's gonna happen to it. I get away with it when I'm leading people, because I just pretend they're not there. I just pretend they're non-existent, and I just run my good wide lead line so they can just stack up behind me, and everything is fine. But as soon as there's somebody in front of me, I start thinking about, oh, their car, what are they doing? And I almost forget like what I'm doing. So I kind of want to build another one of these cars. So I'll keep this one as like the nice one with the clean paint job, and I will, I'll keep it set up for drifting, but I'll just have my stock seat in it most of the time. It'll just be my street car, unless there's like a nice competition or a fancy event or something where I want to bring out my nicer car. But I really think it's time in like my drifting career, if you want to call it that I need to build a drift car that I'm not going to care so much about. The purple car was perfect for me, because that shell was free. Orion from Night Shift Auto Lab literally gave me that shell, so the shell didn't cost me any money. It was already super rusty. It was full of holes. The door already had a dent in it. Like, it was just not a pretty car. It worked great. It was a perfect drift car just for that reason. I didn't care about the chassis. I didn't care if I crashed it into somebody. I didn't care about any of that. So I think I need to build another E36 that the body isn't as clean, and I think that I need a drift missile so I can actually like practice chasing and not worry about it. So I think that's where I'm going from here. Obviously I'm still gonna drift this car this season. It really limits me, and it puts me in my head when I care so much about the car, and I have so much time and energy and effort into building the perfect street/drift car for me in my situation. So I don't want to ruin it, especially when the car's only been together for 2 years. I mean, maybe next year or the year after that or something, I'll finally like feel like, really getting down and dirty with this thing. But as of right now, I'm not confident in my driving enough, and I really need a car that I can like really practice in and not worry about. But I had a great time this weekend. It was a little stressful going drifting back to back 2 days, Friday night and then Saturday morning again, but it was a good time. I'm glad I did it, and I can't wait to do it again.